You had a lot of expectations of enlightenment, and if we sum these all up, most of them are on the board here, but you're going to be perfect. Everything is going to be great. You're going to have a lot of money. Everybody would like you. As it turns out, you have no money. Nobody really likes you. You're not perfect. And you're not going to be like the masters of the past. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Every one of them will tell you. Ask any master you happen to see. They're going to tell you that that don't do it like I did. That's what they're going to say. And they don't want you to go through the hardship. And it was a totally different era. Time was different back then, literally. I mean, time was different back then. Energy was different. Consciousness was different. Everything. They're going to encourage you to do it in a different way. Hopefully without the degree of suffering and angst that they went through. So, please, starting at this moment, drop the expectations of enlightenment. Drop them. Let them go. Let them go. The next one I'm going to ask you to really look at between now and our next gathering is the aspects that you have created, sent out there in your search for enlightenment. You created them a long time ago, past lives, but a lot of them really brought forth into this lifetime. You've created not just one, not just two, but dozens of enlightenment aspects. So I will call these aspects of your expectation of being spiritual, of being enlightened, of being a master. I'll call them aspectations. You have expectations, you have aspectations of enlightenment. These are literal aspects, many of them. And the interesting thing is, they're not all in unison with each other. They're not all in harmony with each other. You have many different aspects, and I would like you to really explore these. Because you have an aspect that still, this drives me crazy with you. You still sees yourself as a peasant being, the master as a peasant being in your crude clothing and no shoes on your feet and with a little tin cup begging from door to door, thinking, well, this, the master, the true enlightened being has poverty. It's the eye of the needle thing. You have another aspect of enlightenment that has heard some of Tobias's words of mine. It says, well, no, you need to be prosperous, abundant. Well, what's going to happen? What happens with these two aspects? Like that. And the one saying, yes, but we should be abundant, and you kind of favoring that one. But the other one that's old and deeply ingrained that's saying, no, but we have to be poor. We have to be there to serve everyone else. We have to take care of the world. And these are in conflict. You have the enlightenment aspects that say, I have to study, I have to know everything, I have to know all the philosophers, I have to know everything that Jesus ever said. I have to know all of the world's religions. And you have the other aspect that says, none of it matters. None of it really matters. And they're having this. Sometimes it's a battle, and sometimes they'll just, the intellectual enlightenment aspect will start spewing out all of its mental stuff, facts and figures and dates, and trying to be condescending to this aspect that is looking for the simplification. And it will overwhelm that simple aspect with all of its intellect and how smart it is, and make this other aspect feel stupid. Like, oh, I guess I just don't know anything about life. I'm not worthy of enlightenment. You see, they're battling back and forth. You have these aspectations of enlightenment. I'd like you to become aware of it. Now, the danger in that, or the difficulty in that, you're going to delve into these aspects, and feeling them. And Andra knows exactly what happens. They come in, And they try to draw you into them, making you think you are them. So observe from a distance, observe from a place of neutrality. Don't get involved in their stuff. Don't get involved at all. Just observe how they work. Yes, they are parts of you, absolutely. But you can observe them and see how all these expectations, your expectations of enlightenment, are lingering around out there. Now, what we're going to do, what you're going to do, is integrate all of them. You're going to integrate all of them, not by force, not by intellect. You're going to integrate them by taking a good deep breath into the I am. Take a good deep breath into you, into your truth, into the love of yourself. The way to integrate aspects is by loving yourself. You've made no mistakes along the way, none at all. You're going to laugh about that one day. You've made no mistakes. You've done nothing wrong. You don't have any bad karma, none of that. So you're free to love yourself. So next, and the more difficult one, perhaps the biggest barrier to your enlightenment is other people. And while others would consider that to be a very rough statement, selfish, trying to break up families and all the rest of that. Families break up by themselves, regardless of enlightenment. That was funny. It has nothing to do with enlightenment. It is other people. And more specifically, it is the people that are the closest to you. Those are some of the most joyful things in your life, and also the things that are truly keeping you from the realization of enlightenment. So what to do? Pack your bags, walk out, go live in the woods by yourself? Not necessarily. But start realizing from this moment on that these people who are the closest to you, these people that are the very, very closest, are the ones who you cast your imbalances, you cast your fears, you cast your emptinesses, you cast your buttons onto them. You project your self, your imbalances, straight into them. And because they love you, they accept them. And by the way, you do it for them also. But there comes a point where you should not cast yourself on others. So when I say it's other people, the loved ones, the ones closest to you, it's actually you doing it to them, you putting your stuff onto them so they can play it back. They push your buttons because you gave them your buttons to push. They cause you the most heartache because you gave them your heart to play back to you. It's not that they're bad people, actually, they're wonderful people, and they love you, and they've put up with a lot, just as you put up with a lot from them. But this whole practice of using other people to discover self needs to come to an end. Amen. Amen. There's a revival meeting. Oh, amen. Amen. Everybody does it to everyone else. And by the way, that's the reason so many relationships don't work or don't last for a long time, because at a certain point you can't stand seeing yourself through that other person anymore. You blame them, of course, but you just can't stand seeing yourself through them. Or at a certain point you realize that you don't need to do that with each other anymore. So the question comes up, is there hope for true, genuine, and pure relationships? It's up to you. It's up to you. But most relationships with any humans are this game of projection. casting yourself into them, like a fisherman, but casting yourself into them. So, as we are in this discussion of expectations, I'm going to call this caspectations. Would you mind writing that? Because they are also your cast, like a cast of characters in a play or a television show. They're your cast, they're your characters. But there comes a time when it becomes a one-woman or one-man show. You're on your own. It's your stage. No longer using other. It's you standing on your own in the I am presence of yourself. When you get to that point, when you can be truthful about it, and it's just the I am on the stage, not this cast of other humans that you've surrounded yourself with, then you realize something beautiful, that there is the cast of yourself and all the magnificent aspects that you've ever had, all the very integrated aspects, and you actually don't need the others. You don't need them in the way you've been using them in the past. So here's the dilemma. You're with somebody. You have children. You have a mate, even parents. And there's this whole game that's been being played. You discovering yourself through them. And it has to come to an end at a certain level of enlightenment or awareness. Now, there's going to be people that take this out of context, and they're going to say, Dhammas is saying, leave your families, leave your babies, walk away from your parents, don't take care of them. I'm not saying that. I'm going to be very clear about this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying end the game. End how you use others to see yourself. End how you use others, whether it's guides or angels or other humans or any of them, for helping you to discover you. From this point on, it's you discovering you. Can't do it through that husband or wife or through your kids or anybody else. You don't want to do it because there's been such a dynamic that you've had with each other for so many years. You may not think that you're ready to get off of that. But my dear friends, as I said in the beginning, it comes to a point in your realization of enlightenment when there's not a lot of guides around anymore. It comes to a point where there's not a lot of friends like you've had friends before. It comes to a point where there's not a lot of other humans, relationships like you've had relationships. Doesn't mean they're gone, just means that they change. I can't tell you if they're going to leave or not. I can't tell you what happens. But this is the point where you take a deep breath and you assume it's about enlightenment. And you assume you're doing it in the greatest love, first of yourself, and then of the others that you've shared love with. This is the point where you assume and you trust that it's the joyfulness of the I am. Let's take a deep breath with that.